Welcome to episode 27 of MTMJ Fit Podcast. I'm your motivator and your personal trainer. So, the last 7 to 10 days have been very entertaining at my job. So, we're going to talk about that. I want to show some love to Alex Isley. She really did her thing. I think off her first listen, I was disappointed. But boy, it's been on replay since. So we're going to really celebrate her. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on the last 7 days at work. Of course, we're going to throw some fitness vibes at you. Just to start the podcast off, and again, make sure you rate and review. I've been seeing the reviews and the ratings on Apple Podcasts, so I really appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like, share, comment below. And again, man, make sure you rate and review. It really helps the podcast grow. It helps the podcast get out to more people. The more people watch and share, the more the algorithms will gravitate to my direction. I mean, what you see is what you get. Like, consistently, I'm trying to make sure I'm being positive. And today ain't one of them days. I know the Bible says, right, man, we ain't supposed to worry, but at the end of the day, I'm human. I think I try to use this podcast as like therapy for me. And the reason I say that is because I want to make sure it's just an outlet for me to kind of talk, right? Because I know as a man and other men kind of constantly go through some of the same situations as me. So some of the things that I go through, I know for a fact I'm not the only one that's going through this. Today I'm rocking my old school LRGT. You know, I'm LRG through and through. You know, I've been vibing it with them since when I was walking the streets, man, when we didn't have ride shares and bikes and all that other good stuff that this generation is spoiled with now. So of course, always I'm gonna rap LRG as much as I can because that's a vibe. Again, rate and review the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts specifically. Any other podcast in your streaming app that allows you to, please, man, show your support. Just give a one-liner and letting them know what you think of the podcast, negative or positive. All right. So, you know, with each episode, we want to start with the MTMJ music hits of the week. And like I say, I'm going to show mad love to Alex Isley. Her album came out last week. And like I say, it's been on constant play. We also going to talk about that Ozark trailer. Oh, my God. Crazy, man. Roof going to be on some ruthless stuff this part 2 of season 4. So you know how early in the podcast this year I was talking about suing the dealership because the engine and train in the vehicle that I bought has already went supposedly. So these jokers, man, petitioned the court to throw out my case based off of what they say that I should have filed in Virginia because that's where the dealership is. And you know, that kind of threw me off a little bit. That's why I say, man, I talk about it all the time, just finding good people, man, and using empathy. Like, I guess you can't expect everybody to necessarily think the way you think, act the way you act, and do things with good intentions. if that makes sense. So then, from there, I find out that like I owe I owe money for a situation I don't even know what it's for. And they're not really even explaining what it is. Hope that makes sense. I don't really owe any money. It was paid, but still help. At least like if I owe something, I know I need to pay my bills. I get it. But don't tell me I owe something and you don't have you don't give me why I owe it. That don't make sense to me. But anyway, like I said, the last 7 days at my job has been very interesting. So look, you got three coat sniffers, right? 2 booty calls, right? 2 booty calls. That's crazy. Let's start with the booty call because I think the booty call is the most enticing thing, the most funniest thing. So like I'm doing my rounds, right? Because like when I go to work, I do my job. I don't know how everybody else operate, but I do my job so I can go home. I mean, that's just what it is. So I'm doing my rounds. I get up to the second floor of this establishment, and one of the employees is saying, man, I think someone's in the bathroom. I think a female is inside the man's bathroom. She didn't say why. Maybe the female had to use the bathroom real bad. She didn't give no details about the situation. So I go to the bathroom. There's one dude at the urinal, and you can clearly tell there's someone in the stall, but I wasn't sure immediately. So next to this stall is a urinal. And if you look hard enough, you can kind of see who's in the stall and what they're doing. All the time in this particular bathroom, I'm always catching someone doing something they have no business, from somebody rolling up to, like I said, people doing coke or just anything. So when I go up to the urinal, I look over and I see this female and she is getting her back wore out. Right? Hey man, she is getting wore out. Let's do that again. So I'm like, okay. Let me tell you what I say, right? Normally, right, when that happens, you're supposed to kick them out of the establishment. But normally when someone gets caught in that establishment, it's normally by a member of management. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, man, hurry up and finish up and get out, right? I'm not telling them to get out the restaurant, but I'm like, get out the bathroom. So dude comes out of the bathroom. He got his face all covered up tight. He runs. I don't even get a good look at this man's face. But the female, she takes her time coming out of that stall, right? She first puts her hand over the door, like the top of the door, to try to open it. It's like she's stumbling a little bit. So when she finally comes out, I clearly can tell she's twisted. Like she don't have too many drinks. So she washes her hand. Here's where it get interesting. The plot thickens. A gentleman with dreads comes in the bathroom and says, man, why you in here? I've been looking for you. So I'm thinking, okay, oh no, is this the boyfriend? Mind you, this is not the same dude who ran out of the bathroom with his hood over his face. That dude had a gray hoodie on, and this dude had a green hoodie on. So I'm like, oh crap, it's taking me everything to not sit there and laugh. Because I'm thinking, like, if I laugh, he gonna want to know why I'm laughing, and I'm gonna end up blurting out, man, your girl just was getting hit by another dude. So everybody gets back on the floor. At this point now, they're escorting this lady out of the restaurant, the boyfriend and the boyfriend's friend. At that moment, I didn't see the dude that was in the gray hoodie anymore, right? So about 2 or 3 minutes passed, and I look at the other end of the bar where they were, and the guy was just sitting there. He was looking like he was scared for his life, right? And I'm like, oh no, oh man, yo. Yo, but man, what make matters worse, right? I went to the gym the next day and she was in the gym. I'm like, okay, all right, baby girl. That's nasty, but so be it. So there's that. Man, I'm sorry if I'm a little down today, right? But this month, right, I want to celebrate I want to celebrate entrepreneurs like myself who's putting in a lot of hard work. And we're going to do a few interviews with some local people in the community and in the DMV area who own their own business or striving to get ownership of their perspective lives as far as like being their own boss. So we got an interview this week coming. Jardy is a friend of my wife, right? She's had her own hair line for a couple of years, right? And I can't wait for you guys to kind of like vibe out with her, and just celebrate her success, man. Because like being a business owner myself and an entrepreneur and trying to find ways to kind of monetize every single thing, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, and that's why like you don't see a lot of people trying to work for themselves, and a lot of people would rather have somebody else do all the dirty work, and they just be a part of the team. I don't know. I ain't never wanted to be just a part of the team. I wanted to be in a leadership position, so that's why I'm working consistently hard to improve this platform, my business, improve myself consistently, and to be a better me. So as you can see, we still going through like the early stages of this new mic, but we got a new mic, y'all. Test, check. Yeah, it's clear. Way better than old friendly or old faithful. Man, I really appreciate that mic that I had, because when I first started the podcast back in 2020 in November, I just jumped into it. Since then, I've had 3 mics. And each mic, I tried to make sure I improved the quality of the sound. So, yeah. Again, this is episode 27 of MTMJFitPodcast. You know who I am. I am the sponsor of this podcast. It's on my back to make sure I support in every way possible. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. This DL Hughley stuff went longer than I expected to be. I felt like it was gonna be over. Since the last time we talked. Now let's see what we got going on. Will Smith is just taking L's all over the place. Let's see what we got so far. So since then, an hour ago, Will Smith's Oscar slap is derailing production of Bad Boys 4 and Fast and Loose. That's crazy. And now I'm starting to think that it's a possibility. I remember I threw out the notion that the slap could have been fake. It's too much backlash coming from this situation for the slap to have been fake. So I'll take that back. See? 2 days ago, Netflix backed away from Will Smith's Bad Boys Fast and Loose. So like, man, he taking a hit since I last did the podcast. He resigned from the Academy Awards, so he's not dealing with that anymore. Poor Ting Ting. That's his. So look, I want to start this off, man, by saying rest in peace to Bruce Johnson. The reason I know Bruce Johnson, because growing up, seeing him on Channel 9, I used to watch him. And then I recently, a couple of months ago, saw him on social media. And for some reason, like, when you see people on social media, you can feel like the realness of them. And I try like to make sure like now I'm following positive people, man, that can give me, joy, especially when things ain't going right. So I saw that he passed away, and which is funny because a few days ago he had made a post, and I was like, the post was interesting. It was on his story, and I watched it or whatnot. So to see few days later that he passed away it's sad, and I feel for his family, man. And if they were to hear this podcast, I want them to know my prayers are with them in their time of bereavement right now. Just some of the stuff, man. A lot of folks in the city knew who this guy was, man. The guy won. Look, let me just read off, man, some of his accomplishments, right? He anchored the news for 44 years before retiring in 2020. The man won 22 Emmys. He was a member of the Society Professional Journalism Hall of Fame, right? So that means you really put that work in, man. He graduated from University of Kentucky. So like, he leaves behind, right? He survived by his wife. He had 3 children, and he had 3 grandsons. Like, but here's where like things get, man. 71 is a young age to die, man. I'm looking right now at my grandmother, right? She's 75. So like, you got to think, right? This is why it's so important, man, that men get your yearly physicals, man, because like you need to really understand what's going on in your body internally. I don't care if you think you healthy. I don't, like, just make sure, like, get your blood work done, man. Make sure everything's going good, because like, he died of heart failure. And, I think that's one of the things in the black race, right, that a lot of folks are. You got high, high blood pressure, diabetes, folks just not eating healthy. But it's deeper than that. Like, you can eat healthy and still be internally like losing it or whatnot. The family asks that you respect their privacy right now. So yeah, that's sad. But like I said, man, we putting out another episode this week, man, with Jardy or Jordan, or however you'll get to hear from her. That'll be a vibe. I don't know. What else we got to talk about? I don't know. I don't think I got nothing else. Let me start with this, right? So today, right, of course, I study my word every day in the morning before I start my day and doing anything. So today's joint was, right, one thing I've desired of the Lord, that will I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. So like I said, even though I'm human, I'm human, and I have a belief in God, and I understand that God asked us to like put our worries in his hand. But at the end of the day, I'm human, and like I talked about a while in my 20s, I think like anxiety and mental health and stress and all that other good stuff, we didn't really worry about. And I tell people all the time, when you're being raised, they can't prepare you for responsibilities like this. Like, this is one of the things that's unforeseen, right? You never really, you can't like prepare people for paying bills, prepare people for being set out, prepare people for like foreclosure, prepare people for like repossession and all that other good stuff. But what I can say, I just try to prepare my heart, man, and make sure I'm communicating my feelings. That's why I like this. Like, it really gives me an opportunity to just get my thoughts out. Besides just talking to my wife, this is like therapeutic for me. So, like I said, man, ego in the gym is crazy, right? I think too many times you see people like going in the gym trying to like max out every time they work out, and they're not really paying attention about the small things. So what I try to do is like I plan my workouts like 5 days in advance. So like each day I want to make sure the objective is to get better. I respect everybody's situation and how they live their life as far as their fitness goes and their nutrition. But I think like I was telling my guys the other day, like our job as friends is to support one another, not necessarily feel like we forcing some sort of regimen on people. And while I'm a personal trainer, I don't ever going into it with my friendship trying to force my knowledge on anybody, because I believe like when people are ready, they'll do it. Like you can't make people do things that they're not necessarily prepared to do. So what I try to do is just be supportive in any way I possibly can. And it doesn't necessarily have to cost anything. I say that all the time. I say the one thing I can't change is my level of empathy, right? And I think a lot of times we feel the need to have an opinion on something we really don't necessarily need to have an opinion on. Sometimes like, and you know what make things so bad? Like folks so used to not supporting one another that when the support come their way, they don't even know how to handle it. That's the crazy thing about it. I was supposed to have been going somewhere today, but I'm not going nowhere. Like I sit on this podcast every week, and I kind of get my feelings to the masses, right? Some good, some bad, some uneven, but I make sure, like, no matter when I'm down or not, I'm still gonna be positive. Right now, I'm not I don't feel the most positive, but I try daily. Like, I am worried though because I feel like we put in lot of hard work to like get to this point in my life, whether it's like me raising my kids, being a husband, trying to provide and all that other good stuff. And just when you think things are going okay, it's another stumbling block. But I don't really count this as a stumbling block because I've already, in so many words, come to peace. And like reading their reason to like throw the case out, it doesn't necessarily have any just cause to the reason why I took them to court. So like my thing is, if I was to take my same argument to Virginia where I bought the car at, is it going to necessarily change my argument? No. But the fact that they trying to drag it on, I don't get it. Like, just do what's right. I mean, we live in a world like where doing what's right ain't as common as always. But I don't know. All I can do is lead by example, right? So any conversation I have with anybody, especially folks in this generation, like that are immature and they don't understand like just doing things the right way, I try to make sure I inject some of my knowledge because chances are I've been through what they are going through. Like yesterday, child had to be like no more than 18, 19, walking around like she drugged. And I'm like, man, I can't afford to give her love. That's not necessarily saying I don't want to help her. But like, again, you got to allow people to get to the point where they need the help versus you just offering it. folks feel like they just gonna give out help and the person ain't asking for it. Like for instance, right, I was talking to a coworker, right, and she said she was in a restaurant and she felt a little threatened by a homeless person coming in asking for food, to the point where she got so scared she just paid for the item. So then I find out the dude didn't even get the sandwich that she paid for. He took the money and even came back thinking that the food was going to be available. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you got to know, like, don't chew off more than you can squeeze. You can't help everybody. That's why I was talking about last week with J.R. Smith. Like, we live in a world where, like, everyone has their own choice. Their choice to support somebody, their choice of what they're going to buy, the choice of what they're going to eat, the choice of how they're going to train, and the choice of how they're going to live their life. Like, you can give them advice, but I try not to give advice to people that don't really ask it. Like, I've been through a lot. I can talk about it over and over, being raised by my grandmother and not having the opportunity to be raised by my parents. That's the biggest thing. You see it now. But now this generation, they're being forced into a little different things. Like they don't know how to handle failure. Right? That's the biggest thing. Being able to handle it and then being able to persevere through it. Like that's the win right there. So that's why I say, even in the moments where I'm a little upset, I'm not at the best. Like right now I can feel like I'm a little upset because it's just hard for me to focus. But still, I'm going to get on here, give y'all the energy that you deserve, and make sure I show my appreciation while doing it. So again, thank you for listening to episode 26 of MTMJ Fit Podcast. I'm your motivating, your personal trainer, man. Make sure you're getting better every day and being consistent for it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you share the podcast on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment below.